that patrol.
Conference rivalries are one thing, but this Metro East battle has a little extra flavor. SCC Sports goes on the road to Simley High School in Inver Grove Heights. The 12-4 Simley Spartans, the number 10 team in Class 3A, host the Tartan Titans, a team at 7-9, but always in contention for a win. Hi everyone, I'm Mike Beaton, joined by Mr. Mayak, Alex Nagel. If you're wondering about the LA Rams colors, this is a die-hard LA Rams fan since 1968. And as you might know, I think those Rams are going to the Super Bowl.
They most definitely are, Mike.
But before we celebrate Super Bowl 53, we've got a big match here. Now, speaking of pro sports, it's often a big story when a superstar athlete goes to another team and the first meeting between the new team and the old team commence. We have the high school equivalent tonight. Azaria Chevre, last year's top player at Tartan, transferred to Simley. This is the first of two meetings, and that's going to bring a lot of emotion to this Metro East rivalry.
It sure will, Mike. It's really an interesting twist to this matchup here tonight. You talk about Chevre. She had a season high of 27 points against New Ulm here earlier this season, and particularly, she plays in a much more important role now since Simley lost Raven Miles to that season-ending ACL injury. So both her and Sydney Stensgaard have stepped up nicely for Simley.
And the same can be said for TT Danzo, the all-around specialist for the Spartans. But you're right, Chevre coming in has been a big help for the Spartans, and she's leading the team in scoring much like she did with her former team, the Tartan Titans. Now, Tartan, a lot of folks wondered how they were going to handle life without their top player, and even though they're under 500, they've been in contention for a lot of games, including yesterday's battle with Robbinsdale Cooper at the Minnesota Fury MLK Classic. They had a chance to win, they couldn't close out, but folks like Kendra Akarike have really stepped it up a notch.
Well, the first thing that struck me when I looked at this Tartan roster, is how incredibly young they are. My goodness, they're dominated by sophomores, juniors, and even a few eighth graders in there as well. So this is a team that, when you have youth like that, there's going to be some struggles along the way, such as the loss yesterday to Cooper. But the other thing that you have to keep in consideration, I think, is that these young teams do have the capability to come up and surprise in the most unlikely fashion and at the most unlikely times. And this could be one of those times tonight.
And some of those athletes who could throw a surprise at Simley are TK Mason, back from injury, Aurora Roberts, the junior, Tia Cummings. So however you look at this game is going to be a lot of fun. I know both sides were really excited for this game. There's no bad blood between these two, but it's kind of like Dwayne Wade and LeBron James when those two meet for separate teams. So a lot to look forward to tonight.
There really is, Mike, and I'm really looking forward to it.
And we hope you will do the same. We'll be back with the starting lineups. This is high school girls basketball on SCC Sports.
Disaster tips from the objects left behind.
My home wasn't insured, but you can check your insurance policy now to make sure you're covered. Oh.
My savings are lost, but you can put money aside and plan for unexpected disaster costs.
We're lost forever, but you can scan important documents now so they survive.
For more tips on how to prepare, visit ready.gov.
Welcome back to Simley High School in Inver Grove Heights. Alex, when we break down a conference battle, usually you look at the conference standings, and Simley doing pretty well at 12-4 overall. But with everything at stake, the narrative surrounding this matchup, this may be one instance where you can throw conference record out the window.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of truth to that, Mike. I think when you look at the Simley team, though, coming off the tough loss yesterday to Eastview, I think it's important for them, at least for them mentally anyway, they want to get off to a good start tonight so they can put yesterday's disappointment behind them quickly, get that bad taste out of their mouth and move forward. Now for Tartan, on the other hand, with such a young team that they have, I think it's very important for them tonight, very important for them to get off to a good start, not have a lot of lapses on defense. Got to take care of the ball. If you get into the paint for scores, I think that's going to be critical for them in these first few minutes of this ball game tonight, Mike.
And if you're wondering, Simley undefeated in conference play. They'll have a big showdown with Hill Murray. Town Square TV will have that one for you. Tartan at 3-2. A win here would be a big step forward for the Titans.
Well, especially a win tonight on the road against a conference arch rival such as Simley. No doubt about it, Mike. A win tonight here would be a huge shot of confidence in the arm for Tartan.
And not just any conference rival, a top 10 team in Class 3A. Hill Murray, the number 1 team. So that showdown on Friday will be a lot of fun to watch. Starters have been introduced. Let's do the same. For Tartan, same 5 as yesterday. So Tia Cummings, number 3, will get the start alongside Aurora Roberts, number 4. Nevaeh Meister, number 10. Kendra Akereke, the senior, number 23, the lone senior on the roster, and TK Mason, number 33. Simley starting their usual 5. TT Danzo, number 1. Sydney Stensgaard, number 2, both juniors. Chomp Danzo, number 15. The freshman is Aria Chevre, the junior, number 21, a 1,000-point member. And Nicole Gullaroo, number 44, the 6-foot senior. And we'd like to thank all of you watching this on SCC, and if you're watching this on Town Square TV. And speaking of unusual circumstances, usually when I'm at Simley, it's for a Town Square TV assignment, but this time I'm on the SCC payroll. But that's okay.
Well,
the bottom line, I'm getting paid to be here.
For a guy who's quite tied to the Northwest Suburban Conference, you do have a way of taking me out of my comfort zone.
I know, I'm taking you.
So if I struggle here in the first few minutes, don't be afraid to nudge me.
I'm taking you to the Metro East, the Suburban East. I'm taking you all over, haven't I?
Pretty much.
Last year, well, we had that fun game. We had 2 good ones at Matamidi, including a game against Tartan.
Yeah.
And that marathon with Como Park. Let's hope we don't have a 2-hour marathon. Simley wins the tip, and we're underway. They're wearing the gray, Tartan wearing the white. Gullaroo gets us started. Nicole Gullaroo averaging 5.1 points per game.
Half-court pressure here by Simley, but Tartan breaks it.
Aurora Roberts pulls up for the mid-range J and knocks it down. And don't sleep on this Tartan team. They played Stillwater close. They played Robbinsdale Cooper close. So against several of the top talents in the state, 3A and 4A, Tartan can hang with them. Closing out has been a different story. Sydney Stensgaard, 3 rims out, and the rebound goes to TK Mason. TK, as we noted, missed all of last year to injury. Tried to jam it to Akereke down low, and it will be Simley ball.
Flowers had a great opportunity to get an easy bucket there. She lost a couple seconds, though, Mike, when she put that ball on the floor.
Chevre over to Chomp Danzo. High-low, Chevre takes it on the lob. Tough shot, and it goes in.
Tough shot over 2 defenders.
Chevre was really excited for this matchup. TT Danzo with the swat. Gullaroo follows up with a block of her own. Mason for 3. Off the mark, Gullaroo with the rebound. 2 big blocks for Simley. Danzo, baseline drive, kicks back out. Chevre launches the 3. Doesn't shoot a lot from 3-point range. Cummings hooks up with Meister. She can fire from 3, but she's short. Gets her own miss though, now drives, and can't lay it in. Gullaroo with the board.
Those are the kind of opportunities you've got to cash in on in a game like this if you're Tartan.
As we noted, Chevre super excited to take on Tartan. I covered Simley a couple of weeks ago for Town Square TV when they played Henry Sibley, and Azaria told me after the game, I'm looking forward to seeing you against Tartan in 2 weeks. Never mind that they are coming off a game against Eastview, the defending 4A state champions.
Yeah.
And I spoke with some of the Tartan players before today's game, and they were just as excited. The feeling in the air is that of excitement, not any bad blood, no ill will. Kendra Karake drives, comes up short. I think you just have two teams that are hungry for a win after yesterday, and they're going to bring something extra knowing that they're going to play against an old friend of theirs.
Cummings with her first foul of the night.
Stensgaard off the screen set by Chomp Danzo. Chomp moved into the starting rotation a few games into the season. TT Danzo was going for the reverse, and she stripped from behind. Tartan looking to leak out. Karake kicks out to Mason. 15-footer is long. A collision. Chevre picks up the board. She'll take it all the way for the layup. We saw her execute that move to perfection many times at Tartan last year.
Oh, I'll tell you what, she looks primed to step up her game tonight.
Simley ball. Chevre scored 1,000 points against Cretin-Durham Hall. I should say crossed the 1,000 point mark. If you could score 1,000 points in a game, that would set an all-time record. Six to 2. Spartans over the Titans. Stensgaard out to Chomp Danzo. Back to Stensgaard on the skip. Stensgaard will drive. No good, but there's TT Danzo and one. That was something missing yesterday on the part of Simley. They tried to feed TT Danzo, and she had trouble converting in the paint. Not that time.
No. It's going to be critical for Tartan tonight to box out well on the defensive, and they did not do it there.
TT Danzo completes the three-point play. Timeout Tartan. 9-2 our score. 13:53 left in the first half.
You know, you look at this Simley team, Mike. You know, we talked about at the top of our broadcast here tonight the loss of Raven Miles of that ACL. So there's not only a scoring aspect to consider, there's also the leadership aspect, I think, to consider. And when you look at this trio of Danzo, Sydney Stensgaard, and Chevrolet, I think they've stepped up nicely, both in the scoring and the leadership area as well.
And on the part of Danzo, who completed the three-point play, as we noted, an all-around threat. Danzo, 3.2 assists per game, 3 steals per game. She leads the team in both categories, averaging a double-double. She's had 3 double-doubles this season. And her highlight, St. Croix Lutheran, she had 14 points, 8 steals, 7 assists. So this 5'10" post player can do it all. Back to action. Mason at the top of the key, guarded by TT Danzo. Meister for 3. Bullseye. If Meister can knock down triples, that could give Tartan a boost, and she gives the Titans a much-needed one on the ATO sequence.
Now Tartan showing some mid-half-court pressure here, Mike, and almost a steal there.
Ball is loose, picked up by Chevre. Danzo, sister. Chomp gets on the board. If you're wondering how to pronounce her full name, it's a Chompoma. But she goes by Chomp because a lot of folks would have a hard time saying it. Meister, that three was off. Tried to draw the foul. That doesn't happen. Chevre gets by Meister, pulls up. No good. Chomp Danzo with the rebound, takes a tumble. TT collects the ball. Sydney Stensgaard was calling for it. And a 3-second violation was called. That doesn't happen often in high school hoops, but it affected Simley there, and Tartan gets the ball back. Cummings for three. She's had a hard time getting that three-point shot to go in her favor. Jump ball. Tartan with the arrow.
What I'd like to see Tartan do against this 2-3 zone, Mike, is pass the ball around a little bit more, stretch out that 2-3 zone a little bit. Maybe it'll create some opportunities in the lane for them.
Cummings again. She's persistent with the three-pointer. Here's Chevre. Out to Stensgaard. Sydney Stensgaard, Simley's three-point threat. Chevre. Back to Stensgaard on the left wing. 12:05 to go. Chomp Danzo, high post, feeds Chevre. The skip to TT, had an opening, instead kicks out to Gullerud and give the dime to TT, and the deuce to the senior.
Good patience by Simley there.
Indeed, I thought TT had a reverse if she went for it, but she put her faith in Nicole Gullerud and it paid off. Akereke tried the step through. Yep. (13-5), 11:38 left. Simley, one of the few schools, although a couple more are doing this, you may have noticed this, Alex, that have a color-coded scoreboard.
I kind of like that. You know, I've never seen anything like that before. I think it's kind of neat.
Minneapolis North has one. South St. Paul has a color-coded scoreboard. TK Mason picks up her first foul. You'll never have to worry about who's in front if you don't know how to count, that is. The team in front in yellow, the team behind in red. And I know there's a lot of scouting that goes into a game like this, but I have to imagine for both teams, you know, Tartan, they know how to go up against Chevre, doing so in practice, and Simley, I'm sure they leaned on Chevre to pick up a couple more pointers. Another 3-second call on the Spartans.
One thing I saw Tartan do well on this last defensive sequence was getting into those passing lanes, making it difficult for somebody to move the ball around.
Cummings tried to feed Roberts, I believe. Instead, the ball is stripped. Chevre fakes the elbow, Jay.
Wow.
We've seen that before. Chomp Danzo scores.
Great
Chevre, go ahead.
Great recognition by Chevre there.
Chevre pulled off the exact same move last year against Stillwater as Meister fires, misses the three. Akereke with the offensive rebound. Against Stillwater a year ago, we saw Chevre pull off that same fake. She fed Kendra Akereke down low. Wow, I guess Chevre still has that move.
Yeah.
Chomp Danzo picks up her first personal foul, and it was that game that turned me into a Chevre fan.
Yeah.
It's one thing to have the pump fake down, it's another to use the elbow J as a decoy for a dime down low. Simley looking to drive. Chomp Danzo couldn't finish. Mason launches the three. Off the mark. Cummings with the offensive rebound. Tartan, they've been crashing the glass. They just got to get a few shots to go in. Back door to Roberts, and Aurora will shoot two.
Good job by Roberts that time. Getting the contact. Gets a trip to the charity stripe here to cut into this 10-point deficit.
Roberts averaging 9.6 points, 6.1 rebounds a game, had 23 and 11 respectively against Hopkins, and we've told her story a few times, but it's worth mentioning again. Roberts recovering from Guillain-Barré syndrome last year that left her paralyzed for a time, and then during the offseason lost her mother to cancer. It was one of the darkest moments for this Tartan community. Some wondered if she was going to come back to play, but she has, and she has played with a heavy helping of inspiration, having the phenomenal season just to come back from everything. What a story. Splits at the line, and we are going to have free throws for Simley and TT Danzo.
I tell you, Danzo, when she makes the decision to get into that lane for a drive, it's really tough to stop her.
It's tough to stop her when she gets going indeed. She had 14 points and get this, 23 rebounds against St. Louis Park when the two met at the Park Center Holiday Invitational. 23 rebounds. And she's 5'10".
Plays bigger, I'd say.
Well, and rebounding is not always about size. It's about IQ and positioning, too.
Getting yourself into position.
Exactly. So Simley with a 17-6 lead. Tartan haven't made a field goal in some time. Roberts looking to end that drought. Can't do it there. Chevry with the rebound. Stensgaard throws it away, and that will be a foul on TT Danzo. .9:15 left in the first half. Tartan, can they end this field goal drought? Mason with the side fade. Swish! TK Mason gets on the board. And that's a much-needed bucket if you're the Titans.
Well, that's certainly one way to attack a 2-3 zone.
Tartan applying the full court press. It pays off. Roberts one-on-one against her former teammate, and she takes it to the rim.
All of a sudden, a 6-point game here, Mike. And another steal, almost.
As we said at the start, Simley and Tartan, I should say Tartan, they hang around. They've got athletes. They're aggressive. Closing out has been an issue. Kind of like a year ago.
And another steal. Look at that.
Roberts with the poke. Bodies flying everywhere. Bonita Franco comes up with it. Mason recovers. Tartan catches a break there. Ends up in trouble again. Jump ball. Simley with the arrow this time. But you and I, we were on hand for Tartan Matamidi last year, and it just seemed like 1 year ago and in several cases this year, Tartan has always been in the thick of it. They're right there.
Yep.
They just have a hard time getting over that hump and recording those signature wins.
Well, I'll tell you what, when this Titan team turns up the heat on defense, things can get awfully dicey for Simley.
We had a timeout called by Simley. It's a full one, 8:07 left in the first half. And I think they're playing Abe's tune here. Abe is our cameraman on the floor, and many moons ago he would perform Tom Petty covers. And he told me he made the mistake of telling me about that, and ever since, for the last 4 years, he knows I've been peppering him with Tom Petty references.
Nodding in recognition.
Yes. Well, 17-11, Simley over Tartan, but the Titans getting a couple of possessions to go in their favor.
Yeah, they did. Again, what I'd like to see him do against this 2-3 zone, Mike, rather than just settling for threes right off the bat, is move the ball around a little. Try to stretch that 2-3 zone defense out a little bit. That'll create some opportunities in the middle for him.
And for those of you watching on SCC Sports, if you want to stay up to date on all the happenings in the Northeast Metro, Follow us on Facebook at Suburban Community Channels or on Twitter at SCC TV Sports. And who knows, maybe Alex Nagel will get him back for another game. A battle of Metro East rivals. Simley in Section 3-3A, Tartan in Section 4-4A. Simley, as we noted before the broadcast, they have a good chance of taking on Holy Angels to get out of that section into state. Tartan and just about everyone else in Section 4, underdogs to the new powerhouse in town, the Stillwater Ponies. Meister gets the steal. Euro step.
My goodness.
Draws a foul on Franco, and Nevaeh will shoot 2.
Well, all of a sudden, Mike, this pressure defense that Tartan is employing has really swung the momentum in their favor.
So Meister at the line, 7.9 points per game, 3.6 rebounds. It's a friendly bounce there. Alex, what is your favorite food?
I'd probably say Mexican.
Mexican? Well, you and Tartan would get along smoothly. One of the post-game rituals for the Titans, and during the season, they get together at Katrina's.
Oh, nice.
Known for their tacos, a restaurant out in Oakdale. Chevre fires the 15-footer after Meister split at the line. Chevre feeds Chomp Danzo again. And I'm going to get this out of the way. Number 15 is chomping at the bit. Ekereke weaves through and got through the younger Danzo, draws the foul on the elder one. Ekereke to the line. Kendra, a 3-sport athlete.
I like Ekereke's willingness to take the ball into the lane in traffic and draw the foul. That's what I think Tartan has to be willing to do tonight.
Ekereke looking to continue playing college hoops. And when she's done, she told me she's looking into a career in cellular biology.
Wow.
She's a biology buff. Ekereke splits at the line, but the Titans have drawn this deficit down to 6, and they're inching their way forward. Chevre pickpocketed. Tartan a little too strong on the leak out. Meister can't recover in time.
Well, we talked about at the top of the broadcast, Mike, how important, at least I thought it was, for Tartan to take care of the ball. Now it seems like that burden has fallen on Simley all of a sudden.
As you noted, after Tartan switched to the full court, Bonita Franco misses the 3. Tartan going to the full court has thrown Simley off their game. .648 left in the first half in this Metro East Conference battle. Glad to bring you this one on SCC. Stensgaard off the inbound, buries the 3.
Well, now we know why she's had some 20-plus games so far this season, Mike.
37 triples on the year. Now 38. Not up there on the leaderboard compared to folks like Mia Curtis and Sarah Scalia, but she does give them some range. Roberts, baseline J does not drop, and Bonita Franco collects the rebound. Tartan again implementing the full court, trying to get that steal and the fast break, and Roberts intervenes on the bounce pass. Roberts pulls up.
Nice.
Gets it to fall.
Pretty pull-up jumper in transition there.
Aurora Roberts with 7 points. 22-15 our score. And that will be a kickball.
I'll tell you here, just in the last 5 to 10 minutes, Tartan has done a really good job of getting into those passing lanes, Mike. And you're right, it really has thrown Simley off of their game somewhat.
And I think some folks underestimated Tartan's potential as Chomp Danzo is fouled. She'll shoot 2. I think some folks underestimated their potential because when Chevre left, you're wondering, well, how's Tartan going to move forward? And even though TK Mason picked up her second, think we forgot about her presence. Remember,
Yeah,
she
yeah.
couldn't play at all last year. And Tartan, they've been doing this with a rather small roster. They haven't had more than 8 or 9 players suit up compared to most of the teams.
And Simley also has a decided height advantage as well.
Chomp Danzo averaging 6 points per game, but she's really come along over the last few games. Although she misses both free throws, she knocked down a season-high 14 against Henry Sibley, game I called for Town Square 2 weeks ago. Roberts tries the baseline J again, gets that one to drop.
That was some good ball moved by Tartan there.
And just like that, it's a 5-point game. Dolarud tried the bounce pass, couldn't get around Mason. It will stay Simley ball with 5:23 on the clock. And making her first appearance for the Spartans is Abby Hepper, number 30. Stensgaard had an opening, will drive instead.
Oh, pretty layup by Sydney Stensgaard.
Well, she knows more than I do. Meister for 3. Bullseye.
Wow.
Second tray for Nevaeh Meister. And Tartan continuing to close in. It's a 4-point game. Chevre
Look at
lost
this.
the ball. Tartan on the run. Roberts will take it almost all the way, but she couldn't finish. I think she felt Simley's defenders coming, and that may have thrown her off.
Yeah.
And then you commit the foul on top of that. That is a last to give for the Titans with 4:47 to go. This is meeting 1 between these two Metro East rivals. SCC will have live coverage of the second meeting on February 19th. That one will be at Tartan, of course. It's something their sports crew have discussed frequently. Azaria Chevre, though, one of those playmakers. Sydney Stensgaard, 3-ball, corner pocket. Stensgaard with her second triple, and it's 27-20. Cummings, baseline. Tia's having a hard time getting that stroke to go in her favor. Meanwhile, Bonita Franco goes coast to coast. Two-pointer falls for Kendra Akereke. That's her first field goal. Kendra leading the team in scoring. Told me she had to step up as the lone senior. And without having Chevre available, even more so, Sydney Stensgaard banks in the runner. And Stensgaard is up to 10.
She's a threat behind the arc, and she can drive into the lane, too.
Mason feeds Bell down low. Going back to Stensgaard for a moment, she started the season with back-to-back 24-point games. Here she is with the skip to Hepper. Got it. Abby Hepper gets on the board, and this flurry continues. Meister knocks down the 3. 33-27.
I think it's safe to say that things are heating up here.
Don't tell these two they're playing the second half of a back-to-back. Mason rejects Stensgaard. Akereke hooking up with Meister, but didn't have the angle she wanted. Chevre, long skip to Franco. She's got a lane. Chomp Danzo with the board. Reestablishes position, and that's a smart thing to do. When you're down low like that, best thing to do is throw it up. And Simley is going to call a timeout, maybe.
I think both teams need
right.
their
Everyone needs to catch their breath for a second. So I stole your breakdown book for a moment.
I wonder what was that thump to my right.
Well,
I feel better now.
That thump. No, that thump actually was the the feeling of the Rams making it. The Rams had a lot of fun. Anyway, in Section 3-3A with Simley. We mentioned the Danzo sisters. TT, the elder one, speaks Twi and holds her pencil between her middle and ring finger. I don't know what Twi is all about, but that's an interesting language. And Chevre, who we've been talking about quite a bit, has a huge fear of butterflies.
Wonder why.
I have no idea. Well, I know, and I'm not getting her for her birthday.
We might have to ask her about that.
We just might, depending on how this game goes. Chomp Danzo at the line. 57% free throw shooter entering this game. 2:34 left in the first half. And Chomp misses both. Mason swings it out. Tartan getting some subs in. Mason fires the three. That's long. Akereke recovers and scores.
Back to a 4-point game again here, Mike. Gotta like how this Tartan team is really attacking the glass.
Using their agility to their advantage. Chevre. Over to Danzo. Franco has it now. Launches the three. And just about missed everything. Tartan looking to push again. They'll launch the three. That doesn't go in either. Simley with numbers. Franco beat Mason to the rim, but can't put it down. Here's Michaela Harris. Guarded by Chomp. Needs help. Kicks back out to Mason.
Oh, what a pass.
And what a bucket.
My goodness. Mason put a beautiful pass in down low. Fooled everybody. Think might have fooled you too.
More importantly, she didn't fool Brianna Bell. Brianna stayed with it and has a chance at three. Brianna doesn't score a lot, but has a chance to get a new season high, perhaps, with the way she's playing off the bench. Free throw no good. Neither team shooting well from the line, 3 of 7. Borchard goes up and in. Mason, top of the key. Fires a skip to Akereke.
Wow.
That was a tough shot, but she puts it in. Akereke up to 7. Stensgaard kicks out to Chevre. Less than a minute in the first. Borchard, right wing. "45 seconds. As you know, no shot clock, so you can be as patient as you like.
Wow.
Sydney Stensgaard pumped up after that three-point play chance. She got the first two down. We'll see if she can convert the free throw. As we noted, Stensgaard, 24-point performances in the first two games of the season against Waseca and Byron. She hit 6 triples in each of those first two games. But she can't knock down the free throw. And the Spartans now 3 of 8. Free throws did them in somewhat yesterday in that loss to Eastview. Mason, that was a lazy entry pass. Easy pickings for TT Danzo. Borchard finds Gullerud, the 16-footer. Rolls in. A big momentum swing in Simley's favor. They go back up by 6. Tartan will hold for the final shot. Five seconds. Stensgaard with the block. But Tartan will have 2.2 seconds to make something happen. If you get the inbound pass in cleanly, you can get a shot off. Chevre swoops in, and that will
almost
bring the first half to an end. You don't have enough time to do anything with 1/10 on the clock. So we're going to end the first half with a 39-33 score. Well, I guess they'll put some time back on. So 1 second. Catch and shoot. Mason misses, but Simley with a 39-33 lead, and they're getting a lot of production out of Sydney Stensgaard. 12 points for the game high right now.
She's definitely stepped up her game this season with the loss of Raven Miles, and I think her confidence has grown as well, as I think that's been pretty much demonstrated here tonight. On the other hand, you look at Tartan, they got themselves into a hole early. Things were not looking good for them. But they brought some full and half-court pressure defense, and that really, I think, took Simley out of their game somewhat and opened up some opportunities for this Tartan Titan team. And they got it down to 4 points, even though Simley had a late flurry there toward the end. I think Tartan has to feel infinitely better about themselves now than what they did in the first few minutes of this ball game, Mike.
Well, Alex, thanks for not breaking my style. Song reference. We'll be back for the second half in a moment. You're watching high school girls basketball on SCC Sports.
Hey, Bobo, do trees tell each other stories?
I'm sorry. I'm afraid I don't know that.
Hey, why don't we go find out? Listen.
Do clouds take naps?
I couldn't tell you.
Dad, do stars visit their friends?
Look! Mike Beaton and Alex Nagel back with you. High school girls basketball on SCC Sports. Metro East battle between the Simley Spartans and Tartan Titans. The first meeting of two for Zaria Chevrolet and her old Tartan family. So recapping the first half, Sydney Stensgaard leads with 12. Other notables, Chomp Danzo with 6, Nicole Gulleru with 6. For the Titans, Nevaeh Meister has 10 points, Aurora Roberts has 9, and Kendra Karake with 7.
You know, Mike, as we listen to a great Johnny Cash song, Ring of Fire, I can't help but wonder if Simley kind of felt that same sensation coming down the stretch of this first half when they looked to have control of the ball game. Tartan came with some full and half-court pressure, and it really paid some big dividends for them getting back into this ball game. So now I think, we thought maybe the pressure would be on Tartan, but now I think it's kind of changed around to Simley a little bit.
Well, I'm going to fly now. They switched from Johnny Cash to Bill Conti. Rocky, gonna fly now? Never mind. A few more bios we wanted to share. Kendra Karake apparently broke her jaw last summer playing basketball.
Yikes.
I'd say that's healed. Also heavily involved in the school's Relay for Life, Tartan's Relay for Life, one of the biggest in the state. There's a Karake, her elbow jays off the mark. Dead ball rebound to the Spartans.
Simley sticking with that 2-3 zone. I don't think they're going to change up too much on that end.
And speaking of Sydney Stensgaard, who's bringing up the rock, her fun fact, she could eat Chipotle every day. I know a few friends of mine who would get along with her real quick. Chevrolet fires the 3.
Looks like
get the bounce.
Looks like Tartan has switched their defense. They were going man-to-man mostly in that first half. Now it looks like they've gone to a 1-2-2 zone. Interesting little change up here by head coach Justin Burgess.
Still Simley ball.
Let's see how this changes Simley's game plan.
And we've got a tie-up. Simley with the arrow. And Simley doing just fine. Raven Miles having a little fun on the bench. And as devastating as it was to lose Raven Miles, Mark Stensgaard, Simley's head coach, told me it was a rough day or two after Miles suffered the ACL tear against Waseca. They were back at it. In fact, when I covered this Simley team when they played Cretin-Durham Hall, Raven's teammates were mocking her ACL injury. They were reenacting her expressions when she suffered it. But it was a good fun. They like to have fun with each other. Chevre feeds Stensgaard. Sydney can't get it to drop, but there's Chomp Danzo. And she's going to get called for an offensive foul.
Wow.
That is just her second, but a missed opportunity for Simley. But that's how you know you've got the back of your teammates and vice versa when they're making fun of you over an injury. Tartan ball, 16:26 to go. But Raven will be back next year. And looking at the players coming back on this Simley team as the call has been overturned, Simley ball now. Simley and Holy Angels, if they stay in Section 338, that could be some fun battles to get into the state tournament. Holy Angels, a great team. Simley, they don't have a point guard, at least not until next year, but they've got Sydney Stensgaard, who's knocking down threes and taking names. 42-33. High-low, Roberts has it, uses the reverse.
Oh.
Can't get it to drop. A late foul is called. Nevaeh Meister looking surprised there.
Roberts did such a good job here on the other end, Mike, getting free down low. Just couldn't finish.
I was a little surprised by that call or how late it came, but I was having a word with one of the Tartan parents. Well, if you're a Simley fan, it was a good call. If you're a Tartan fan, not so much. Stensgaard
again. Ooh.
can't add to her triples for now. Gullerud can't put it in. Another old board. Chomp Danzo cleans up the mess. And Simley up to an 11-point lead. Tartan calls timeout. 44-33 the score.
Well, great start here in the second half by Simley. Stensgaard hit a big three. Tartan's got to do a better job of boxing out down there on the defensive end. You cannot give a bigger team like Simley second and third chances like they did down there.
3 triples now for Sydney Stensgaard. But we've seen Tartan bounce back. They're a resilient group. I wonder, do you go back to that full court press, try to force some turnovers?
I think that's going to be probably in the offing here very soon. I think now that you're down double digits again, still a lot of time, obviously, but I think you're going to have to make some adjustments there on defense to get the tempo going your way again.
So we mentioned Sydney Stensgaard, a big fan of Chipotle. I know a few others who could eat Chipotle all the time.
Oh, I love Chipotle.
So I don't know if I should say this. I also enjoy Qdoba. I like Chipotle too.
Yeah.
I don't know if Sydney might take that as blasphemy. But when she's not hooping it up, Sydney Stensgaard plays volleyball, also in the Student Council, Spanish Club, and National Honor Society. And Raven Miles, her nickname is Ray-Bans, and everyone calls her that. You know what? I think Raven, when she gets older, should consider an endorsement deal with Ray-Bans, the sunglass company. But Sydney and TT Danzo, both multi-sport athletes. And Simley, they've got a solid volleyball team as well. Admittedly, a lot of them play volleyball just for fun, but as you and I have noted before, it's good to have those sports you play for fun so you don't get burned out on the sport you're most passionate about. Cummings launches the 3. No good. Chevre with the board. Stensgaard to Gullerud. Drive is off the mark, and dead ball rebound to Tartan.
Big stop there for the Titans. They needed that.
Now, I don't know. Well, you play tennis, so you don't have a team dynamic like you do in this sport.
Right.
But as Kendra Karake drives and scores, what do you think the attitude, the mindset was for everyone today, knowing how big this game is? how do you approach a game where you have to go up against an old set of teammates?
there's a
Offensive
big
foul on
charge
TT
there.
Danzo.
Yeah, I don't know. That dynamic is interesting, Mike. Obviously there is a rivalry between these two, and like I said, given the transfers that have taken place here over the last season, I think that adds some interesting things to that dynamic. On the other hand, as far as this game is concerned, both teams are coming off tough games yesterday, so I think there's a little added incentive here to get the win tonight.
Deflected, so it will stay Tartan ball. And I'm friends with parents on both sides, Zaria Chevre's dad and Tia Cummings, and they were chatting it up beforehand. They said they might cheer against each other during the game, but they're still friends. And Zaria Chevre said she was looking for a change of pace, felt moving to Simley would be the best thing for her as she continues to grow as a basketball player. There were some rumors about what happened that precipitated the transfer, but what's important here is that this is just a normal game. I mean, yes, we have the transfer, but seeing the two teams go at it, you wouldn't know about the big change from last year to this year.
Foul starting to pile up on Tartan here a little bit, Mike, as we see.
And TT Danzo hoping to
paint.
pile up the points. You're right, and for Tartan, because they play with a smaller roster than most, foul trouble is something you want to avoid. Aurora Roberts.
Good strong finish by Roberts there.
Strong finish indeed.
And here comes some of that half-court pressure we were talking about.
Chevre skips it to Hepper. Can't put it in. And Cummings comes up with it. Roberts, long two. Does not drop. TT Danzo boxing out for the rebound. Here's Chevre. Stensgaard out to Hepper. Traveling violation.
I couldn't tell from our angle. It was kind of a bad angle. I couldn't tell if she was just hopping on that 1 foot a little bit.
That's probably what happened. Right, it was happening in front of us on the bleachers, so it was hard to tell, but Chevre, I guess she'll have to save that balancing act of hers for the circus. But Chevre, well, she's a hooper. So is Takara Mason. Her three is long. Cummings with the rebound. She'll back off.
Oh, what a... Again, that was a great pass by Mason, really quick.
TK Mason threads the needle in places most other guards wouldn't, but they do get the foul on Chomp Danzo, and now both Danzo sisters with three. So something to monitor with 12:50 to go in the second. And still anybody's game. Meister backs off. Cummings off the screen, set by Akarike, no good. Scramble for the ball. We're going to have a tie-up here, I believe. The officials didn't signal it, but the motion suggests it is a tie-up, and Simley will call a timeout with 12:35 left in the second half.
Great shot by Akareke there, hustling for that loose ball.
Well, Alex, I think you and I were expressing our gratitude, our approval of the soundtrack selection tonight.
Yeah, I've
got a lot of throwback tunes.
Yeah.
So let's go crazy with a little more about Tartan. When Kendra Akarike isn't breaking her jaw, she also does soccer in the fall, track. We mentioned Relay for Life. Does a lot of weightlifting, shooting drills. And Justin Burgess said, a team leader who sets the example, a great motivator to her younger teammates. And that's what Akarike was telling me before the game, knowing that she was going to have to trudge along without the likes of Zaria Chevre. And you always want to go out on a strong note with your last year of high school ball. Tartan loses the ball, and Chevre can't finish. She wanted the
3-on-1
foul.
here.
I think Mason, that's going to be a
Wow.
charge on Akarike. If you're Simley, you'll take that. Chevre thought Mason got a piece of her on the other end, so Akarike will be tagged for her second personal foul. Simley 12 and 4. Tartan
Here we go
7 and
again.
9. Meister with the steal. Tartan having some trouble knocking down those jumpers. Feel if they could get a few more to go in, that would help. Justin Burgess having a word with the official. Justin Burgess, the coach of Tartan, the head coach that is in his second season. A graduate of Minneapolis North. And then played collegiately, I believe, at Minnesota State, Moorhead. But Burgess won a state title with the Polars back in '03. Azaria Chevre, 15-footer, is long. That's going to be a jump ball, Simley with the arrow. 11:52 to go. Chevre in the corner. Hands it out to TT Danzo. Simley will reset. Tried the drive and will get called for the foul. I didn't see a lot of contact, but Matt Olive, the official who made the call, felt Chevre led with the elbow a little too much. Just her first foul. But Tartan, they're getting a few lifelines here.
Yep.
Cummings will go out. Isabel Ojotane will go in for the Titans. Akarike. That will be a walk.
Yep.
Chomp Danzo set up a wall there.
It's one thing getting into the lane, but when you've got a big body in front of you, you got to be able to maneuver in there without moving the feet too many times.
Precisely. Here's Sydney Stensgaard. Used up the dribble, and Chevre Ojotani collide. They're going to call the foul on Ojotane. That's her first personal. Simley a little trouble on the inbound, but TT Danzo recovers and lays it in. Spartans back up by 11. Mason, the skip to Roberts, count it!
Great pass by Mason on that. I'm so impressed with her passing ability, Mike.
I mentioned this at the Stillwater game, I'll say it again, TK Mason's got a bright future. Mason averaging 6 assists per game. She had 11 points and 10 assists against Mahtomedi earlier this month.
And she's only a sophomore.
And remember, she missed all of last year, so this is her first full season of varsity. Roberts can't complete the three-point play. Free throw shooting leaving more to be desired on both sides. 3 of 8 for both teams. But TK Mason, Tartan's going to have one heck of a floor general over the next couple of years. And the Titans, even though they don't have the greatest of histories in women's hoops, we've seen a lot of great players make their way through. Chomp Danzo can't finish the layup. Chance for the Titans to pull in. Meister fires the 3, and that's off the mark, and the rebound skirts through everybody before going to Chomp Danzo's hands. And then Sydney Stensgaard loses her grip.
Tartan was a little impatient there on that last possession, but they got away with it with this latest Simley turnover.
So Tartan, as we noted, not a lengthy history, but a couple of prodigies making their way through. Jesse Stomsky, who had a phenomenal career at Wisconsin. And Tia Albert, the all-time leading scorer Tia was featured a few times on SCC broadcasts, and you'll find her now at Texas Instruments as a pricing analyst. As she starts her business career, Tia did some work with some of these Tartan players, and TK Mason drew contact, so she'll shoot 2. And TK Mason, to show you how small of a world this is, her mother is a colleague of Johnson's Colin Moore.
No.
Colin Moore, the assistant coach at Johnson, also had a daughter who went to state last year, Haley Moore, at Cretin-Durham Hall. I mentioned his name in a Tartan Stillwater broadcast last year, and then TK's mother went to him, "Hey, did you hear what he said about you?" And Colin had a laugh. TK Mason splits at the line, making it an 8-point game. With that, Mason goes up to 4. But the way Mason can thread the needle, her passes, they're gutsy, but she's confident. Meanwhile, Chevre calling out a play. A lot of time left, 9:47 to go. Sydney Stensgaard surveying the situation. Chomp kicks out. Franco, 3-ball. That's long. Ozotane gets the board. Mason pulls up. No good. Akarike with the O-board.
Now Tartan's getting a few of those second and third chances, Mike.
Akarike missing the 3-pointer. Akarike did knock down a 3-pointer in the section quarterfinal against White Bear Lake. A buzzer beater that allowed Tartan to move on to the semis. And that will be a foul on Ozotane. And that will be the second on Isabel. As we said, Tartan doing all of this with a limited roster, but sometimes the building process is a gradual one. They had some solid performances a year ago with Chevre in the ranks, and they put up some respectable efforts this year. But again, closing out has been the hard part. They had a close one with Hill Murray last week. They were leading against Henry Sibley before the role players on the Warriors came back. Tor Nelson, of course, broke out for 30, as he customarily does. Simley has picked up a few high-quality wins.
Oh.
Chevre short on the drive. I'll get to that in a second. Brianna Bell sinks the 3.
Big 3 by Bell there from the left wing.
And it's a 5-point game. Bell up to 7. So Simley, they beat New Ulm. They came back from 13 down to win it. They knocked off Minnehaha Academy. Those are a couple of the signature wins. And Gullaroo will shoot 2.
Smart move by Gullarud there, the senior, getting the contact down low.
Both teams now out of fouls to give. Gullarud, not a lot of attempts at the line. She averages 5.1 points, 5.5 rebounds per game. We'll have to settle for a split. And if the game comes down to free throws, who knows what would happen. Cummings feeds Akarike. Hesitation. Can't get the bounce. Franco trapped in the corner.
Yep.
Look out. Matt Olive almost got tripped up.
Uh-oh.
And we're going to have a
we
tech,
got a
I
problem
believe.
here, I
Bonita
think.
Franco
Yep.
was jawing at Ozotane. No tech. I thought we were going to have one. Just
And
a
right
warning.
away, Mark Stensgaard takes Franco out to get her cooled down a little bit.
No technical, just a warning, but Franco, you're right, needs that moment. I don't know what was said between those two, but
Yep.
Akarike not happy with herself. And again, this has been the storyline for the Tartan Titans. They've had a lot of opportunities. Against Robbinsdale Cooper, they had a great chance to steal a win against the defending 3A champs, but they have trouble converting on clutch possessions. So many times they've been right there. They would love to finish with a win. Borchard is fouled. She'll shoot 2. Harris called for her first personal foul. Borchard has a total of 2 attempts. That is her first make. Aaron, a 5'7" sophomore. Another split at the line. Tartan looking to leak out. Meister almost banked it in off a harsh angle. Dead ball rebound to the Spartans.
Well, Simley still leaving the door open, at least partially anyway, for this Tartan team, with some missed free throws down there on the other end.
Yeah, the Titans need a few possessions to go their way. They've got to get a string of scores here, I feel, to really get back in this. They go for the steal. Meister has to get back. Tartan with a 5-on-4. That leaves Gullerud wide open down low. Chevre, not known as a passer, but she did have 6 assists and 6 steals. And how about TK Mason taking it to the rack? So Chevre had 6 assists, 6 steals against Byron. It was a runaway win, but Chevre, no good. Last touch by Gullerud, 6:36 to go in regulation.
Well, you can tell, Mike, the intensity out there has definitely gone up a notch or two here in the last 5 minutes.
Well, this is a big game for everybody. Zaria couldn't wait to play against her old teammates, and Tartan equally excited to test their mettle against a high-caliber athlete and a team with plenty of them. Gullerud comes up on Mason that time for the block. Mason trying to pinch off Stensgaard. Chevre down low to Borchard. Yes! Timeout Simley. How about Chevre and her ball distribution?
I tell you what, Aaron Borchard has really come off the bench tonight for Simley and done a lot of solid work scoring and on defense, Mike.
Chevre averaging just 2.4 assists per game, but she's coming up with some key dimes tonight as the Spartans go back up by 9. But I guess money talks, and passing dimes is a way to do it.
Yeah.
You're not picking up on these references like I thought. As you may have noticed by now, anytime I call a game, you're going to get peppered with pop culture references.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I don't think broadcasting was my cup of tea. I should have applied to be on the cast of Deadpool. But 54-45, Sydney Stensgaard leads with 15 points, but getting a lot of support, and a lot of that has to do with Chevre, especially feeding the ball.
Yep.
I mean, we know Chevre as a scorer, but I feel at Simley, we're seeing a few more elements, and she had them at Tartan too, but it seems like they're giving her a bigger assortment of duties, and she's relishing it.
I think she's accepted those extra duties, and I think she's embraced them. And and that's always a tough thing to do when you lose a star like Raven Miles. You have that one element taken away from your attack. It forces these other players to step up in a lot of different ways, and I think they've shown the willingness to do so.
And Chevre, she's had some fluctuations in her scoring. We mentioned season high 27 against New Ulm. She had a total of 2 points, I believe, against St. Croix Lutheran. But Tartan got the win, or I should say Simley got the win. So Chevre really doesn't care how many points she scores. And most players don't, at least most that I've seen. So Tartan, they're going to need some points. Aurora Roberts will try to give them 3. She cannot. 5:35 to go. Here's a chance for Simley to drop the dagger and get out of here with a win. Donzo recovers for the bucket. Donzo turned a block into a pair, and Tartan roll it.
Critical junction now for Tartan. Down by 11. They've got to figure out a way to create some steals and get some easy baskets, get this deficit trimmed down a little bit, to give themselves a real chance.
Simley's big 3, living up to their names. Chevre, Stensgaard, and Titi Donzo, all in different elements. Stensgaard, up. That could have iced it there.
Well, the emotion's really running high in this game on both sides.
Yeah, Chomp Danzo having a word with Sydney Stensgaard. And you don't want to lose your composure.
No.
Even though Simley's up by 11 and appears to have enough of a cushion to get the win, you don't want to give Tartan any lifelines here. Karake no good. And Tartan having a tough night from the floor. Simley with another chance to ice this perhaps. Donzo straddled the line and got too close. 4:13 left. Timeout Tartan, they had 3 remaining, they'll have 2.
4:13 left here, Mike, but you know, for Simley, sometimes protecting a small double-digit lead can be a tough deal sometimes.
It can be. As we noted, a big week for the Spartans. A lot of these teams playing 3 games. Both of these did. Also taking part in the Minnesota Fury MLK Classic. Simley, how about this week? They had Eastview yesterday, the defending 4A state champions. They have Tartan, a highly emotional game. On Friday, they get the conference leader, Hill Murray Pioneers, the #1 team in Class 3A. Although a lot of folks don't expect the Pioneers to get out of state. They're thinking Como Park might sneak through.
Yeah.
And De La Salle, you can never count them out either.
Yep, exactly. I mean, this is about as big as they get for Simley.
And this comes after a week where they played South St. Paul and North St. Paul.
Yeah.
Quite the turnaround. But hey, the Rams fought off some obstacles to get to the Super Bowl. And Katia Cummings looking to knock down the 3. I imagine the next 2 weeks are going to be happy 2 weeks for you.
Well, let's hope so.
I guess we'll follow up with you after Super Bowl 53.
Yeah.
Gullerud scores. That puts Gullerud up to 11. And that should be enough to clinch the win for the Spartans. Foul on Chevre against Cummings. And they have a little bit of a stare down.
You know, this is where the referees, where the officials, Mike, have to step in and take control of this contest. And we definitely do have a technical foul called.
No, just a common foul. I think what happened is emotions got a little high. You know, Chevre and Cummings had a stare down. And Chevre sometimes can get a bit flustered, and it shows. And I think Stensgaard taking her out to give her a breather. But that was a common foul. So just 1-1. Cummings misses the front end. And now Raven Miles hops over to have a word with Zaria Chevre. Well, as we noted earlier, a lot of excitement. I know Zaria had circled this date on the calendar. And sometimes you can get a little caught up in those feelings, and you have to remember this is just another game. I know Tartan was excited to play. but you don't want to let rivalries get in there. Now Chevrolet will check back in, so I think she just needed a moment. And Tartan forcing the 5-second call. So Chevrolet will go back in for Borchard.
Borchard, what a solid game for her tonight coming off the bench.
Just 5 points, but the beneficiary of a couple of key plays. Now let's see how Chevrolet
Another great
handles
pass
it.
by Mason.
And a delayed gratification, but Kendra Akarike scores, and with that bucket, Akarike's streak of double-digit games remains intact. Kendra has had 10 or more every game this season. A bit unheralded, perhaps, given Tartan's record compared to other teams. Cummings gets called for the foul on Chevrolet. That will send Azaria to the line. Chevrolet having a quick word with Mark Stensgaard. Cummings picks up her 4th.
Certainly not a done deal here by any stretch, Mike, but if you're Tartan, this is where you need to figure out a way to get stops. You can't be just satisfied with trading baskets with Simley right now. You've got to find a way to get stops.
Yeah, a lot has to happen for Tartan to work their way back, but they get an opening here.
One way to do it right there.
Chevrolet missing the front end of a 1-and-1, and free throws suspect on both sides tonight. Simley 5 of 13, Tartan 4 of 11. Now Tartan, they need to find a way to get a bucket. Meister 3 is off the mark. And this happened a couple of nights ago when Eastview lost to Farmington. When your shot's not falling, it's tough to hang with anybody.
Yep.
And then how about Farmington? They got upset by Chaska yesterday, 53-51.
What a shocker there.
Farmington, one of the undefeateds. There's only 2, and we're only going to have 1 because the 2 undefeateds are Hopkins and Wayzata.
Yep.
And only one of them can stay that way because they're the same conference and in the same section.
Yep.
Oh, that'll be a fun series.
Oh, boy.
And we are getting no lack of excitement, no lack of fireworks here. Nothing too malicious. We've had a couple of stare downs, a couple of emotional occurrences, but nothing out of the ordinary.
Yeah.
Foul on Roberts. Nothing outside the context of a game, I should say, because you see that sometimes in the NBA too. But as a fan, what is your feeling like? You've been a Rams fan for a long time, and of course you follow a lot of the other LA teams and a few of the others as well, as Danzo will ice it from the line. When you have a big-name player go to another team and you have that first meeting against his or her old team, as a fan, how do you take that?
It's a weird feeling, Mike. There have been a lot of different examples of that. And it's just weird because it doesn't seem the same. There's the element, the mix gets changed up so much that you really don't know how to take it or how to approach it. And that's from a fan's perspective.
Simley will use their last timeout with 1:39 left. They've got the win secured, so you can start Simley up on another winning streak. But we've seen that how many times, when Brett Favre left the Packers and finished his career with the Jets and then the Vikings, and the meetings those two had. In the NBA, LeBron James, it seems like wherever he ends up going, whether it's Miami or LA.
Yeah, exactly.
In Minnesota, Katie Smith, when she was traded all those years ago. And that first time back, first meeting against your old groupies.
It's weird. It's different.
Right. Well, take Chevrolet, for example, just 4 points tonight. The second meeting, she could break out for 20 or 30. But where she has made up for it is the passing game. Kind of matching Mason as far as dimes go. Now, since you're an LA Rams fan, surprise us with your knowledge. Any Rams, like former Rams that had a big career and then went to another team that you had to root against later on?
Well, I think, there's been a lot of players. I mean, I look at guys like Wendell Tyler, who had a big game for us in Super Bowl 14 and wound up going to San Francisco. Jack Hacksaw Reynolds went to San Francisco as well and helped them win a Super Bowl title in 1981. So There's been examples of it.
Plenty of examples. And another one, how could I forget, Peyton Manning,
Yep.
when he finished his career with Denver. But he was greeted warmly by Indianapolis. And even Michael Jordan those last 2 years with Washington. I think there's a respect that goes beyond rivalries. And that's why there was a lot of excitement, but not a lot of trash talk between these two, because a lot of folks still see Chevrolet as a friend. And the parents are friends with one another. That hasn't changed. So if nothing else, as we get the start the buses chant from the fans in attendance, Simley's going to hang on for the win. Maester fouls Stensgaard, but academic here. This game and this series for the next year or two will be an example of how a friendship can survive a transfer like this.
Yep. It really is. I mean, on the court, you're such fierce rivals, but, off the court, it's different.
Different indeed. And unlike the other big-name transfers we had this season, Destin Yoberg going to Kennedy, they play with Holy Angels, but they're in different classes. Liza Carlin going to Stillwater in the same section as Central, but this takes it up to another level because of the conference affiliation. All the other transfers changing classes, changing teams, but not a lot of history.
Right.
Here's a high-caliber athlete transferring to a school within the conference, so knowing that you have to face your old team twice, that is not an easy move to make.
It's one thing, I think, to transfer to another school outside of your conference, but when you transfer to another school in your conference, when you're going to see your old school at least once, maybe twice, that really changes the dynamic right there.
Aurora Roberts gets the three to fall. She goes up to 16. It's too little too late for the Titans, but they're going to do what they can here. Aurora Roberts, though, 16 points, the junior. You'll see her on the track field next year or next spring, out on the track, much like Kendra Karake and a lot of other crossover athletes in the city of Oakdale. And Simley, I imagine at their next practice, they might work on their free throws.
Yep.
7 of 17, and Donzo gets 1 of 2, but 8 of 19. Simley, you have to imagine they'll want to clean that up, not only for Hill Murray, but later on with a likely date against Holy Angels in the section.
That's been one issue I've had over the last few years. Free throw shooting. See Mason let loose with the bomb. Free throw shooting seems to be something of a lost art.
We have a stoppage in play with 8.1. So to finish up the story on Roberts, no matter what happens with Tartan, to see the rest of the team band together, to see Aurora Roberts come back after everything she's been through.
Yep.
No matter the record, she's going to be an inspiration to a lot of kids in Oakdale.
Keep in mind, Mike, this is an incredibly young Tartan team. Their best days are still ahead of them.
And Simley,
Same
they
deal
don't have a
there.
lot of seniors either. Just one who starts. Roberts with one more three. And Stensgaard gets the block. That wraps it up here. A comfortable win for the Simley Spartans, 62-50 over the Tartan Titans. With that, Simley goes to 13-4. Tartan falls to 7-10.
Great effort tonight by this young Tartan team. Facing a zone defense like they did all night, I felt what did them in the end was that they had to settle for too many three-point shots, and unless you're shooting a really high percentage, that usually comes back to bite you.
Well, Simley gets out of here with the win, led by Sydney Stensgaard with 16 points, TT Danzo with 13. Tartan led by Aurora Roberts with 16 points, Kendra Karake with 11. We'll try to get a word with a couple of the Simley players before we depart. This is high school girls basketball on SCC Sports.
When I was your age, I was just like you, fascinated by stars. But now I get to search for life in the universe. And who knows, maybe life is looking for us too.
So we're like aliens to them?
Yeah. Does anyone want to be a scientist now?
I do.
Awesome. We need more girls in STEM.
Maybe we can find aliens.
And we're joined by Sydney Stensgaard and TT Danzo of the victorious Simley Spartans. For you two, I know a lot of folks were excited for this game. So how do you prepare for a conference rival where this time around you have a former Tartan player among your ranks?
It was a lot of mental, everything. We just had to keep in our own heads and not let the other team get to us and the words get to us.
Starting off the game, we knew it was going to be a mental game. We definitely have the skill, and our team definitely has the will to win. So it's all a mental toughness throughout the game. When we came out, we knew that we had to get a lead on the start, and we had to keep our composure. So I think we did a great job doing that tonight.
Now, another facet in this rivalry, last year you had to go up against Azaria Chevre. What was it like having her alongside you tonight to drop some dimes the way she did?
It's definitely a lot more fun playing with her than against her. She's very strong with the ball at all times, and she sees the court very well, and she's also a very good defender. So it's definitely way better playing with her. And I play with her in the summer, so all year round playing with her, it's just a lot of fun.
I'm used to playing against her since we played different AAU teams, but I think we're very grateful to have her on our team, so I can't complain.
And you mentioned the mental aspect of this game. Tartan made a couple of runs, but in the second half you were able to keep them at bay, keep them to one and dones, and come up with some fine plays on the other end. So what was the difference in the second half that allowed you to hold them off?
We focused a lot on rebounding and boxing out.
We came out and we knew that we had the lead, so we were supposed to keep the lead. It's always the first 5 minutes, so we kept our composure in that side, and we just came out. We knew we were the better team, so we played like we were the better team.
Now, Sydney, we know you're a three-point specialist, but tonight you showed your driving ability too.
Yeah, over the summer I've practiced a lot on different things like a shot fake and a rip and go, more moves to evolve my game.
And speaking of evolution, TT, not many folks have the all-around talent you do where you lead the team in assists and steals, averaging a double-double. How have you developed all of these different elements of your game?
I think it's a big part about it is that with our point guard Raven coming out this year, I had to develop a little bit of my guard skills. So I've definitely been seeing the ball more and seeing people around. So I think that's been really helpful on my part, especially.
Were there any idols in the sport of basketball that you've been emulating as you develop this skill set of yours?
Most definitely. I think I'm repping number 1, so Abby Kine. She's that.
Abby Kine, that's right. Simley's all-time leading scorer. And so how does someone like Abby, I guess since we're talking about idols, I know she's graduated, went to college already, but even though she's no longer wearing number 1, what have you taken from that former number 1?
Well, we were little 8th graders when she was here, and we were playing against her every day in practice, so she definitely showed us that we need to get stronger and just see everything differently.
I get to play against her in summer, so she kind of goes against me. I feel like definitely I've learned from her to be tough, to see the court, and also not to be scared to kind of shoot the ball, so I've been kind of taking those little pieces from her.
Now, TT, you took number 1 in homage to Abby Kine. Sydney, is there any significance to your number 2?
My middle brother wore number 2 in high school.
So between the two of you, who's number 1 and number 2?
No comment.
Having a little fun, of course. You want to say hi to anybody?
Hi, Mom. Hi, Dad.
Shout out to my mom.
All right, hi, Mom, hi, Dad, and hi to everyone watching this game. Congrats on the win. Nice bounce back after that tough game with Eastview, and I guess a great preamble to Hill Murray on Friday. I know that will be a big one.
Yes, it will.
Yep, excited for it.
All right, that's TT Danzo and Sydney Stensgaard. That wraps up our coverage here from Simley High School in Inver Grove Heights. For Alex Nagel and the rest of our crew, I'm Mike Beaton. Thanks for watching.